And we are live!
Woo!
Woo!
All right.
It is Season 2, Episode 3. For the Avengers review. The man who's never watched the movie in my fucking life, but I'm here to see what the opinions of you three are. Christian, Joe, and John, how are you?
You saw the original Avengers. You've seen some of these movies, smartass.
But the question remains, how many of them did you stay awake for?
Probably none of them.
Joe, you can lean in. It's not. Don't be afraid of
Joe's
it.
afraid to question me on things, especially when
Joe,
I sleeping.
Joe, I know it's big, but don't be afraid of it.
That's what she said.
Anyway, so guys, I just want to let you know in the chat room, this is not the real Joe. We killed him last week after him refusing to leave Jerry's house. So we used some pin particles, and Jerry managed to build a quantum tunnel with out of spick and spam,
I
and
needed a lot of help.
and it's powered by Jerry snoring.
Yeah.
So we were able to go back in time, pull Joe from 2014. So now this is 2014 Joe,
I had to step up my apnea.
and 2014 Joe is now going to give us his opinion of Endgame. And John's looking at me like I got 6,000 heads.
Well, we apparently have 6,000 timelines going on after this movie.
Yeah.
So
X-Men is still more confusing.
true.
So anyway, I'm just double checking the streamline. Anyway, so I want to say, hi Jimmy, get off of this. You haven't seen it yet. I'm banning you.
Don't spoil anything, Jimmy.
So
We believe in you.
anyway, so what do you guys think first that we should talk about for Endgame?
Let's see. I don't know. I mean, we could go like from beginning to end and be here for like another 3.5 hours, but
That's as long as the
there's
movie.
just so much to talk about. I don't know. I think, in short, I think it's just one of the greatest comic book movies ever made.
Might be the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Yeah, honestly, in a nutshell, there's just so much to unpack with it, like where it came from. I mean, it's a 10-year, 11-year actually payoff of sticking with these movies for all these years, and just it's just like an explosion of heroes and the story all coming together, and just like I said, there's just so much
A
lot to unpack.
A live action comic book universe brought to the big screen since 2008.
Yeah, and I mean, God bless the Russo brothers, right? they literally thought of like every single detail, every single circle to close, every single question as much as they could at least to be answered, and give each Avenger, each hero a good closing to their story.
So I guess, do you want to get into spoilers territory?
Sure.
That's what I told everybody.
I think that's what everybody's here for. Right?
That's what I told everybody.
That's the juicy stuff.
I'm here
Yeah.
for more of a reason not to watch the movie.
Yeah, so Jerry can leave now while me and John and Joe geek out for like 10
Yeah,
minutes.
Jerry, you can fall asleep. This is the part where you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And
So anyway,
we'll put on some Slayer
So
for you.
before we get into it, what time should I set my alarm for?
for about 4 hours.
10:30. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Get out of your own place.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go from the beginning, I guess, right? So
Sounds like a plan.
you want to go from the very, very beginning, or you just want to like skip around beginning?
We could
Well,
skip,
Tony Stark was born.
we could skip around, but
So that opening, I kind of had an idea that was going to be the opening
Yeah.
with Hawkeye, which was like
Yeah.
I knew it was coming at the same time. Like my hands were like gripping the armrests.
You know what? Let's let's start with like our predictions from the trailers that we saw.
Okay,
'Cause,
so
we'll start with that.
Okay, so going by the actual trailers, what do you think your predictions were for the movie itself?
my predictions were that they want to fight Thanos in the beginning of the movie, get their asses kicked, regroup, and come back and beat him later in the movie.
Close.
I was totally off, but
Yeah.
they
Close.
That was one of my predictions too. I thought it was either going to be where like they go there and he's still, because I think the big question remained like could Thanos still use the stones after that initial snap, because it was clear that like his arm and his hand was damaged severely after the snap,
his
but
face too was so burnt.
Right, and we saw that at the end of Infinity War, but the fact remained that like even after the snap, he was still able to use the Space Stone to basically escape and get out of there after Thor used Stormbreaker to impale his chest. And and then that's how we left off. There, he was in this little farmhouse, and stumbling. He was, and he was visibly limping and everything. So the question remained, like, could he still use the stones?
Well,
so,
like he alluded to, he used the stones to destroy the stones. So he did some time traveling on his own that they didn't show on camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll get to that, but like, I think so. Like, you remember, like in the scene in the beginning of Endgame when like they were going over like where he could be. They were like in the Avengers building, and they were like, oh, like he used the stones again, and they were able to pinpoint like where he was on the planet. That point was where he destroyed the stones.
At the planet that they found him.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had a similar prediction to you that like either I had one of two predictions. Either yes, they go to him and like they fight him, and even Captain Marvel gets smacked by Thanos, and then they have to figure out another way to get the stones back, or the stones are indeed destroyed, and they have to still go but find a way to another way to get the stones back and reverse everything. And ended up being
like
I
do like that they just picked off where the last movie left off, in which I thought they were going to stick with before they got to the eventual 5-year time jump into the future.
Yeah. I guess my predictions were, as we got closer to it, I started to think maybe they were going to kill Thanos off in the beginning of the movie, because he wasn't in any of the, like, they
didn't show him.
They didn't show him, and they didn't show like,
which was
okay,
a good
like,
thing. I was like, one thing about these trailers, like for the longest time, they didn't show anything, and I think that was like an awesome thing on the Russo brothers' part, not to show anything, because like it just made you believe like, okay, like they're just gonna find him again and just beat him up, and then we'll get but it wasn't that simple, obviously.
Yeah.
But and then they showed Tony Stark, in one of the first trailers they showed Tony Stark like like alone, seemingly alone in his in the whatever you call that airship.
The Benatar.
Benatar, yeah.
Yeah, the Guardian ship.
Yeah, Peter Quill's ship, and he's leaving his message for Pepper Potts just in case he dies because he's running out of air, like oxygen in the ship. And honestly, I didn't think I wasn't sure what to make of that. I was like, maybe he'll find a way back, but like maybe it'll be too late. Who knows?
Well,
that could be something later in the movie or earlier. I really for a while I wasn't sure what Tony's story was gonna be, whether or not like he was actually gonna like make it or not.
My guess was Tony was gonna. My guess was Tony would save Tony, and did what he did back in 2008 in that cave. But only with this ship. But excuse me, Captain Marvel coming to save the day. That I guess was a little more predictable, but it makes sense after they found Nick Fury's pager from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, like I figured. Well, one thing I read that actually makes sense. So like Captain Marvel, like seemingly she just shows up out of nowhere just to run into the Benatar. But I think, because if you noticed, a lot of people believed, like, at the end of Captain Marvel, there was a post-credit scene that showed, like, all the Avengers, like, post-snap, like, they're looking at the beeper that Nick Fury left.
Oh, yeah, and then she goes, where's Fury?
A scene that did not make this movie.
Right, and a lot of people thought that scene was going to be in the... Because they did something similar with Ant-Man, remember that? Like, they had a scene from Civil War, and that actually ended up being in Civil War.
But the post-credit scene from Captain Marvel didn't make this movie.
Right.
So they probably used a leftover scene from Endgame, and let's use it to bridge Captain Marvel to Endgame.
Right, but the thing is, like, since that scene wasn't in Endgame, I think what happened was like she had already gone to the Avengers building first in that Captain Marvel post-credit scene, and then went to Tony Stark after she knew who he was, after they told her like what had happened, and then brought him back as we all saw in Infinity War Endgame.
Talk about putting two most random characters together to share scenes. I mean, obviously it's the same universe, but Tony Stark and Nebula from two different franchises within the MCU umbrella, but left over from the big battle scene on Titan from Infinity War.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me, like, after the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie that Nebula would have the role that she did, I probably wouldn't believe you. Because I honestly thought she was just going to be, like, a one-off, semi-villain character, like, anti-hero character.
Well, that is tied into the comic.
It is. I didn't know that at the time. Yeah.
Her character in that comic looks nothing like her movie counterpart does in all of these movies.
Yeah, she didn't have, like, a mechanical side to her, right? In the comics, she was always just like Kind of like she was like a blue Gamora in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But I like that twist in her character. I like that. That's like one of the few times like you know, the like a creative freedom was done well. I would say. In
So-
her character.
Jimmy asks, how groundbreaking is it that they built a story for this long? For 11 years of build-up, and it culminated in this. In a movie that pretty much
That's what I was-
is the end.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I think it's
What
just
happens when I write it?
like even if you're not into comic book movies, you know, the cinematic achievement that this movie was, like, you know, like I said, it's 11 years by now, 22 movies. You know, I don't even honestly, it's bigger than it became bigger than Star Wars in a matter of 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So like considering it, like even if you're not a comic book fan, you have to like appreciate like what this whole franchise was able to do.
You know, all the way from 2008, sitting in the movie theater, watching Iron Man.
And I learned so much about just the Marvel comics in
Oh, yeah.
general.
Just
Like
because-
I had
just
no
because of these
idea.
movies.
Like I remember when like the first Iron Man came out, and then like the Incredible Hulk movie came out. I remember when the Incredible Hulk came out, I was like, is that like supposed to be like the actual sequel to like
yeah,
the
that's what I thought.
2004
Is this supposed to be
movie?
the sequel to
then-
2003?
and
It was supposed to be
Yeah.
a loose
And-
yeah, it was
sequel.
supposed to be like a loose
And
sequel.
I hadn't seen like I saw Iron Man, but like I had no idea that there was a post credit.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
So I had no idea that the Avengers Initiative was a thing. So I remember when I did see the post credit scene to Incredible Hulk, where like Tony Stark meets up with the Secretary of Defense like in the bar, and I was like, oh my God, they're gonna make an Iron Man versus Hulk movie, and obviously it was way more than that.
Well, it's funny enough at that time that they didn't even cast a Captain America yet. Or any cast a Thor yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, oh yeah, because if that movie flopped,
Yeah, they didn't know
that's
what
it.
was going to happen. They knew what they wanted to do, but they had no idea if it was going to be successful enough to pull it off. And you know, thank God, you know, they really took a chance with Robert Downey Jr. And then,
oh yeah, oh yeah,
they pulled off. Yeah, they
Jerry,
pulled off.
You have the delay reaction. Here you go. What do you have to say?
This is why I have you on the podcast sometimes. So for all the characters that you've seen throughout, like the progress and just seeing how their characters develop and stuff like that, which character do you feel like you can relate to the most from all the movies that you watch?
Tony Stark.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I like to see a little bit of everybody. I want to have a little bit of everybody because all of them are, you know, they're flawed but great people, right? They all have their own issues, but they all have their own great sides to them.
I am a billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Oh yeah.
Keep telling yourself that.
I know we're both techies.
Probably-
where's the
we identify.
philanthropy?
It was the philanthropy.
Yeah. Well, we're both techies. We both
So-
identify with Iron Man the most. I would say.
Oh yeah.
Probably Cap for me in a weird way, even though without being frozen in ice for 70 years. But he you know, he's in a different time and
Your beard looks like it's still frozen.
most likely.
Getting back to what you were saying about the first post-grade scene, the post-grade scene that made me go, ah, and Joe can remembers this because I was like, I don't know if I was hitting you or I was hitting Jerry.
From the first Avengers.
Was the first Avengers? I was like,
That hurt.
I was like,
When
it's
you're eating shawarma.
what? Like no,
Oh,
like
which movie?
the Avengers, the first Avengers.
Yeah, when they're eating shawarma.
No. You know when like in SpongeBob, you ever seen this episode of SpongeBob when they're like, mama.
yeah.
I was like,
Oh, Thanos.
Thanos!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Josh.
And I had no idea who he was.
No, I knew who he was. I was
Yeah,
like,
I didn't know who he was back then.
Thanos.
It was like Josh Whedon laid the foundations, and the Russos took
the
over,
ball, yeah.
took over and took it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And then I still remember talking to Jimmy when they announced Infinity War back in 2014, and he goes, "Why are you freaking out so much? Like, what is like?" Because he didn't know. He's like, "Why are you freaking out?" I'm like, they're all going to die.
Yeah, I actually remember you or somebody posted like because it was during like Comic-Con when they first showed like a teaser of
Yeah.
Thanos like with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
I remember you posting like a comment and you were like, "He has all the stones. He has all." I was like, "There's no way they're gonna let that happen. Come on, like it's gonna." Obviously,
And
sure
sure
enough.
enough.
Yeah.
You were wrong.
Yeah, right. Kevin Feige was
You
able
were
to
wrong.
So-
shock us all again and again.
Should we get to the scene when they actually track down Thanos on that planet that he retired to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other predictions we had to talk about? At least with the trailers that we saw. Going back
So
to
I
the
know
topic.
what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
There was a lot of scenes that weren't in the movie.
There was
Like Nat.
I noticed
shooting
that.
the
Yeah,
gun.
yeah. Each time she was shooting in sync with the music in the background of the trailer.
And then
Well, they did the Armageddon. They included the Armageddon scene with all of them walking in slow motion.
Oh, that was a great scene.
With,
Well,
with
that
the,
they
with the
had.
helmets, yeah.
But we didn't see. They hid. So everybody thought. So I think there was 2 scenes in the trailers that people thought that they cut out certain characters, and I think
they cut out Pepper.
They cut out Pepper, and from the like from the night scene, when they were outside. That's when Tony Stark was coming back in his ship.
And
but during the like that not us scene when they were like walking in single file, like in their white quantum suits.
Yeah.
What was I think the first character that somebody said was cut out of there that they believed was cut out of there. I'm trying to remember who it was.
Thor. Thor.
Well,
was
it ended up being Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people were saying
but Tony was in it. But no, what's funny was Tony was in the scene, and everybody thought that was a misdirect.
Well, the first in the Super Bowl ad, he wasn't in there. Nebula wasn't in, so they were in Apple. People weren't expecting them to be in that scene because they thought like, oh, they're in space still, maybe.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
But I forgot which other character. There was another character I feel like they were saying, but I forget what it was.
Well, Captain Marvel wasn't in it.
Captain Marvel, but I think that's who it was. People were saying maybe Captain Marvel's in that line that they edited her out. But then the next trailer came out and it ended up being where Tony and Nebula were actually with them. And I thought that was a little bit spoilery. I was like, they probably should have left that because I was still like up in the air with like how he was gonna get back to Earth. But I was like, all right, like maybe it was a fake scene, like how they did last year with Infinity War and the Hulk Buster when they showed like the Hulk running in Wakanda, but then it actually was just
a lot of people were saying with that scene that scene
was gonna be
in
Endgame,
and not for.
Like it was going to be a flashback scene or something like
that.
Yeah,
or like
they would redo the fight. Yeah. Thank God they didn't, because the fight that we did get was even better.
I must say that the Russos and the writers Ali made a talking raccoon work well with the other Avengers. Rocket was great, and you forget it's Bradley Cooper doing the voice.
Tony Stark's best line with that. Seriously? I thought that you were a
Build-A-Bear.
A Build-A-Bear. He's like, maybe I am.
Yeah. It's like
maybe it's a figment of your imagination.
Do you even know what a Build-A-Bear is, Rocket? Like,
well,
have you visited a mall and seen what those stores are?
Yeah. Real quick before we get into like spoilers, I want to talk about like the threads that they weaved throughout the whole cinematic universe, and then this movie referenced a lot of things. Like
there are. I remember I shared like a Reddit post with you guys.
You mean like the callbacks?
Yeah, I remember
like
I shared a Reddit post with you guys that just like, all the commenters were just like laying out even like the tiniest details of like all the callbacks that they made.
Like I love like in both Infinity War and Endgame, we got Ultron references.
Yeah. Look, they called back freaking.
I was convinced.
Thor: The Dark World. That movie is now important. It never was until this movie came out.
I was
a movie
convinced.
You always knock.
You know how like in Infinity War, like the big reveal was like, oh my God, Red Skull. I was like, oh my God, Red Skull. I was convinced. I was telling everybody, I'm like, Ultron is in the movie. They're like, no, and I'm like, no, Ultron is because I thought that they were gonna go because what's his name? The guy that played Quicksilver, he had a 2-picture deal.
Really?
So I was convinced. I'm like, well, they're going to bring them back for Endgame if they're going to do time travel, and if they do time travel, they're going to go back to Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I would have liked them to come back.
And I was convinced like they were going to like do some type of like shenanigans where like Ultron was going to come to the future with them.
Yeah.
The same way that Thanos came to the future.
That would have complicated the story.
And then imagine like Ultron and Thanos like fighting.
You have to leave. You have to leave Thanos.
That's a little bit of fanfic.
Yeah. You have to leave Thanos as the main villain in that case.
But they referenced like Age of Ultron. Tony Stark was like, "Remember when I said like I want to build something around the world? None of you didn't believe me.
Yeah, he's like,
I was calling this for years, and none of you
I wanted
believed
a suit of armor around the world. Remember that? Like that's what we needed. And like
I told you.
We can talk about that scene later, but like I love that scene.
I told you that they were coming back. Nobody believed me.
Right.
I thought that was
he was right.
I thought that might have been a rare Iron Man 3 reference with the suits around the world.
That movie. Okay, so Iron Man 3, in my opinion, is the worst MCU movie in the entire series.
Sorry, Christian.
It's terrible. What they did to Mandarin was a joke, and it was terrible. And I feel like even Thor: The Dark World got attention. Iron Man 3 was never like
Thor:
really
The Dark
mentioned.
World's
What I told people about Iron Man 3 was everybody like you were saying about flipping out and stuff. I said just wait. It's gonna make sense in Age of Ultron. because I was telling everybody that Iron Legion is
Right,
gonna be
but
Ultron.
that was it.
Like I was, and people were like, no, you're crazy. And then sure enough, what happened? It became the Iron Legion. Like
Yeah, I mean that was really it though. I mean,
Like,
after Age of Ultron,
Yeah.
like Ultron was done.
Yeah.
That was it.
Now back
But-
to Endgame.
Yeah.
Oh no, but we gotta.
Yeah, no,
look around and stuff.
we're tying up all the
Yeah, we're
loose
tying
ends.
everything.
You
Yeah.
gotta be conspiratorial sometimes.
They
Yeah.
really like have pointed every movie. Who would Who would have thought? Not Ultron. Dark World
I know.
would have been so important to
So,
the.
someone pointed out to us in that scene where Dora's mother, played by Renee Russo, was walking down that corridor. She goes off to the side behind one of the pillars.
And what scene specifically is that in the Dark World?
She's
Because I need to see that.
She's walking down with Natalie Portman's character.
Is it right before the attack? Like when the
Yeah, right before
Asgard
the
gets
dark.
attacked?
Right
Yeah,
before
I
the
gotta
dark.
see that.
Yeah, right before the Dark Elves attack. She's walking down that corridor, and the camera cuts out. You can't see who she's talking to. Now they're saying that ties into her talking to
Yeah.
future.
Well, the thing is,
future
though,
Thor.
Foster was like waking up, right?
Yeah.
And in the scene in Endgame, she was like just waking up. So I don't know if she was walking with the mother in Dark World, it may or may not connect. But
They were apparently
unless they split up and she just went to bed. Oh, you know what? No, actually, it could still work. It could still work because remember when she was like before the mother got killed in the Dark World.
Well, she was sleeping.
She was in there the entire time.
Yeah.
She was just like the mother was just what's the mother's name? Frigga.
Yeah, Frigga.
She used her as like because she
Like
has
a
like
shield or
she has like
something.
Loki's powers
Yeah.
too, that like she has like the illusion powers that like she made it look like Foster was there but she really wasn't. So that scene could still probably work.
So the Natalie Portman scenes are actually not
Unused-
really Natalie
I
Portman.
heard.
They
I was
used-
like,
They're like they got Natalie Portman back for like 2 seconds.
Unused,
I knew I should have watched the
unused footage
Yeah,
from
unused footage.
Thor Dark World, but she did, as you know,
She did a voiceover.
Yes.
and she attended the premiere.
Yeah.
So that kind of spoiled it for me.
I
that
saw
she
that,
in
but
the
she was
movie.
at the premiere. I'm like, they couldn't get her to be in the movie, but
Yeah,
she
I
was
was
in the
like, you know what,
premiere,
this
and
should be
then
allowed.
and then she's probably in the movie
Yeah,
now.
you turned your nose up at us. We didn't want you back.
But once again, like the one movie that still has not been was only referenced like once in like Civil War was the Incredible Hulk. That movie is like the dark.
That's
It's
because
like the
it
dark
doesn't
sheep
belong.
of.
It doesn't belong
Well,
to
you have General
Marvel Studios.
You have General Ross. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the only thing.
Yeah,
that
I was so happy that
connects-
he came back for like. Civil
Oh yeah,
War.
me too.
Yeah.
I was the best. I think one of the best scenes in Infinity War was when Rhodey is talking to him.
Oh, great scene.
And
Oh,
Captain
yeah.
America's like, we just lost our best defender.
Oh,
He goes,
yeah.
And we'll fight them, and don't make us fight you too. And he's
Yeah.
like, arrest them. He's like, okay.
Yeah,
Disappears.
and that was the end of that.
It's like, I'm through asking.
Yeah, I mean, so going back to like other things that they referenced in Endgame. I mean, like the main movies that they called back on, obviously, like during like the time travel, was like the original Avengers, which was awesome. Dark World, Thor: The Dark World,
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Yeah, that brief split second.
The brief elevator scene.
Yeah.
Where
Oh, yeah, it was called back.
Everybody thought he was gonna say that famous sentence, before we get started. Does anybody want to get out? But then he goes and says, "Hail Hydra."
Hydra.
Speaking of, there's a line in the movie that I was upset that they didn't have.
The no shit Sherlock.
No.
Oh, that's right. They never. they still never made
There
that.
was a line. It's in the comic book. It's Captain America is facing Thanos 1-on-1.
Yeah.
And Captain America and Thanos says like, you can't beat me or blah blah blah. And Captain America in the comic book says, as long as there's one person that stands against you, there's always a chance.
They kind of.
They visually.
They visually
express that line.
They visually
They
did.
definitely, especially like that one scene where
Yeah.
skipping ahead in the movie, but like where that one scene where it's just Captain America by himself with his broken shield, and you see like the whole like.
That's the Vision.
Yeah.
From Age of Ultron.
Yeah, but it's just him versus the entire Titan army, and it's just like that was a great shot, by the way. Like that was
I
an
was like,
awesome
oh my
looking
God.
shot.
So,
But that was pretty much like he might as well have said that because
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened.
well, getting back to the elevator scene, we thought Cap might kick the shit out of everybody again, but to stay face and to hold on to Loki's Scepter.
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 With the
This
with-
isn't James Bond show.
SC.
This isn't
With-
James Bond show.
all right, but the Hell Hydra and our friend Kenny going crazy for that part because it referenced recent
Yeah,
Captain
Steve Rogers,
America,
Captain America, #1.
when he says Hail Hydra, and that got a huge reaction.
You know who was a
Yeah.
big shock that was in the movie? Because I said, didn't he retire acting? Was Robert
Robert
Redford.
Redford.
I was like, didn't he retire?
Yeah,
I looked
that
it up.
it must have been right
I know.
before.
I looked it up and I
They
realized
must-
this is the last
He
film.
must have been walking out the
Yeah.
door and be like, wait,
Wait,
do
no,
one more shot
hold
with
on,
us.
one shot.
I was so happy to see. I love him as an actor, so like I saw him, I was like,
I was
they
like,
got
oh
him
my
for
god!
Endgame. Yes.
I was like, yes, they brought him back.
Yeah, no, Robert Redford's a great
That-
actor.
he is-
I got a
He's so
question
good.
for you guys. Was there ever that one actor that you felt like really deserved to be in the Avengers franchise that never really had his or her shot?
Oof, that's a good question.
Well, I could
That
tell
was a
you.
good question.
I could tell you somebody that I always wanted in it and got the part, and I was scared shitless when they weren't like negotiating with him. Was Doctor Strange? It was Benedict Cumberbatch. They're like, no, we can't renegotiate him. He's really busy. Blah blah.
but then
And
they got him.
I'm like, if he's not Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
he was my one and only
Do you remember?
casting
Nah,
choice.
they
and
did
they
a
were
great job
and they were
with him.
talking to Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix, and I
Phoenix.
was like, no. And Joe was
Nah,
like,
he's so
and
weird.
And Joe was
Yeah.
like, why? He's weird. He's perfect. I go, because he's not going to sign on for like a 10-movie deal.
Yeah,
It's not
he'd be one of those
possible.
actors that would just be really difficult with
Yeah.
deals and everything.
And then they talked to what's his name, who's in the new Blade Runner. Oh God.
To the
Looking it
Google
up.
to the Google machine.
Pull it up, Christian.
the Google alerts.
I want to pull a Joe Rogan. Pull it up. Pull it up, Christian. Pull it up.
Fuck. Just pull it up. Fuck.
Hold on. Blade Runner.
That's
2049.
crazy, man.
I've never
Yo,
seen so much
on.
masculinity immersed out of you.
Hold on. Ryan Gosling.
Oh,
Ryan
ooh,
Gosling.
no.
Yeah, they were talking to
Dr.
Ryan
Strange?
Gosling. Yes, Doctor Strange.
No.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh
No.
He seems more fitting for like a Steve Rogers role with the blonde hair, blue
Nah.
eyes.
Yeah, nah.
I wouldn't like him as. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a Ryan Gosling fan at all.
I'm not a Ryan Gosling
I'm not-
fan, but
I'm really
over
not
the
right
years,
now that I think of it, I'm just not really not a
over the
Ryan
last
Gosling
couple
fan.
of years,
You love the Notebook, right, Jerry?
over
I'm
the
gonna
last
get
couple
really
years,
alpha
he's
right now.
softened a little bit.
He's
Well,
okay. Like I'm not like he's not like a terrible
Fuck
actor. I'm
this
just like
conversation.
whenever
Let's
I
talk
see
about
him
the
like on
Notebook.
screen, I'm just like whatever.
Like I saw him in the movie The Nice Guys, and I really liked that movie. And then I only saw clips, but I still haven't seen the new Blade Runner, which is shocking because I love the original Blade Runner.
And Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have somebody like I'm probably forgetting. Like I know I had like there was like some actor or at least maybe more than one actor that like over the years I thought like like he'd be great in like the MCU and like he never showed up. I can't think of it now. If I do think of it, I'll let you know and you can put it on make a status of it on your
Oh,
Capoodle Collective page.
Could you see Will Smith or Dwayne The Rock Johnson fitting in anywhere?
I was thinking about The Rock, but who would he be? Like Drax?
Luke Cage, maybe?
well, Jason Momoa was supposed to be Drax.
No, that was just a rumor.
No,
He was in
I could probably
negotiations.
see
for
that.
it.
Well,
and then
Dave Bautista said in an interview.
Yeah. Well, now he's the water type version of Thor, so it's fine. It's fine.
Another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
so I guess we've
Skip around.
we've beat around the bush enough. So let's I guess get into some
Let's just get into the plot.
We already
Right.
we kind of
Just
did.
get, no,
already.
but let's do a deep dive. So
Yeah.
All right, let me start.
so Jerry wakes up and he realizes that his no wait, that's Joe. He realizes
pancakes.
half his food in the house is gone, and he goes, Thanos.
Yeah. 50% of my food has
So-
been
Then
dusted
Jerry
away.
goes, and he pitches to Thanos a non-profit organization to which Thanos will re-snap everything, and Thanos does it, and
all right.
Now and he's a true hero, clearly.
or
So-
Joe offers him a whole bunch of pancakes.
Why wasn't this a movie already?
Or Thanos with his new heart of gold
So-
has a retirement plan to be a farmer and wear a T-shirt and pick. Oh, that's actually what happened. Sorry.
So the plot. Back to the Future. Star Trek.
Well,
No,
said
well,
Back
okay,
to the Future
so
was
Back to the-
bullshit.
Back to the Future's bullshit. That's what
Yeah.
they said in the movie. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I know, Christian. I'm sure one of your favorite scenes when Rhodey was naming off every time.
Every time, and he mentioned Star Trek. Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually like he did like a sort of like, if you want to call it like a callback, like to the the old like Hitler question, like like if you were able to go back in time, like would you kill baby Hitler?
Oh yeah, that was.
But he's
cool.
like, yeah, would you kill like baby? Yeah, the motion they did, like with baby Thanos, like.
And was Bruce Banner was like, that's unnerving.
Yeah,
But it's Thanos.
yeah, it's like
But they talked about how if you change something in the past, it's not going to fix the
Right,
future.
and
'cause
that's
it's gonna
what,
diverge.
Well, that's what the ancient one from Doctor Strange was explaining. That was a great cameo.
Yeah,
by the
that
way.
was a good cameo.
That was
too.
awesome. Seeing
Like,
her like fight off shit.
I was literally sitting there and I was like, they they got everybody. Like
They
they
did.
legit got everybody to
did.
come back.
They really did.
I
I mean,
was-
watching her like just like fend off like
That-
Chitauri warriors
yeah.
was like great.
Oh,
Like from
yeah.
the first Avengers.
That was a great
But-
scene between her and Bruce Banner. When he's like, I'm looking for Doctor Stephen Strange. She's like, you're about 4 years too early.
Yeah.
About
Because-
4 years too
5
early.
years too early. But
Well,
because she knew in Doctor
Yeah,
Strange.
Doctor Strange. She referenced the point that she knew he was always going to come.
Right, she could
Yeah.
see everything in the future up until her own death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's the main reason they went back to the Battle of New York because at one time there were 3 Infinity Stones
Yeah.
in New York.
You had the Time Stone,
Space
the Space Stone,
which is the
and,
Time
the
Stone.
Mind
and
Stone.
the Mind Stone that they didn't realize was the Mind Stone.
Right.
They don't discover that to Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, they knew going into that time period that
So-
that's what it was.
Side note: Age of Ultron was on TV yesterday, so I watched it, and I realized like, wow,
God
like,
bless
they,
you.
no, like they really like, the Infinity Stones are in like every single damn movie. Like Tony Stark has interacted
Well,
with at least one Infinity Stone.
the
almost,
Age of
almost.
Ultron was like a commercial for the Infinity
Yeah.
Stones.
It
in a
was
way.
set up.
It was
It was all set up.
it was one. The entire movie was one big post credit scene, but we'll get to that
But-
in another
but-
podcast. But
Anyway, but I like
going back to the
I like
ancient
it,
one, how she was explaining time,
Yeah.
like it's not
yeah,
like
she's like you remove something.
Yeah.
It creates alternate timelines.
Yeah, and it was honestly like I had to like read into it like after I watched the movie because it is kind of confusing. They were a little bit messy with it, but basically they're saying like using the quantum realm, you go if you go back in time to a certain time period, you change something, you're not going to change your own future if you go back to your future. You're just going to create
Brand
another
new.
timeline that's branched alongside the timeline that you came from. So that's why the plot of the movie ended up being where they had to go to the past to take each stone.
Yeah.
But then instead of just 'cause if this was like Back to the Future, this is the part where they said like Back to the Future was bullshit. This is the difference between this movie and a movie like Back to the Future. That if this was a movie like Back to the Future, all they would really have to do is just go back in time, just take the stones and keep them.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then go back to the time and just do whatever they want. And then
Yeah.
that would change their future. Not in this movie. In this movie, they had to go back in time. Be as quick as possible. Just take each stone, bring them all back to their own time period where they came from, and then do the snap.
And then
'Cause then that-
simultaneously go back.
Right, because they're not changing. They're not
Yeah.
looking to change the past. They're looking to change their own present. If
Yeah.
that makes sense, that's what they were trying to
Dude,
do.
You go back-
That got a little confusing. at
No,
times.
so-
Yeah, they
The way
didn't.
she
I don't think they
explained
explained it too
no,
well.
the way
but-
they explained it was you go back, you take what you need, but you also have to go back at the very moment that you took it
and put it
and
back.
return it.
Right, because then you're
So
gonna mess
there's no
up those
divergent
realities.
timeline.
You will mess up the past, even if you won't mess up
Yeah.
your own future.
Because the thing is when they did the snap and brought everybody back, it's everything that happened before still happened.
Right. Yeah. So they actually
Yeah.
you see Peter Parker's back with his high school students
Yeah.
in that.
He still got snapped.
Yeah.
He just got
Yeah.
brought back.
Right.
That's
So like
why-
anybody who was gone, they came back and everybody's happy that like, oh, you're back after 5 years. So like it's not where the past wasn't changed. Nothing was erased in the past. It was just they went to the past to collect what they needed so they can go back to the present and do what they needed to do.
Am I skipping too far ahead
No,
if I talk
you
about?
can jump around. I'm
so-
trying to be spoilery but vague as possible.
That's why another point to the time thing.
Yeah.
That's why when Nebula shot herself,
Yeah.
like the present Nebula shot her past self.
Yeah.
That's why the present one didn't die.
Yeah.
Like she didn't
Because she
disappear.
got brought into the future.
Right, because they said and
But
somebody
that doesn't change.
right
the
because
past.
when the 2014 Nebula came into the present, she's now another separate person in
Yeah.
that same present time. So you can kill her. Like if I saw like my 2014 self, I could kill that myself and technically, and I wouldn't disappear
Yeah.
because of that because it's not
Because
he's
it's
not in
a
the past
separate. Because
anymore.
when you travel
Everything's
to
in
the
the
quantum
present.
realm, it's a separate person. Now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What was interesting with her is like when her present self went back, her and her past self were somehow on the same network, sharing the same conscious,
Yeah.
which allowed past Thanos to become aware of everything the Avengers
Right.
were doing.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
They didn't take into account, that like her memories could be extracted and visualized. So
Yeah.
like but since she was in the same time period as her past self, they both shared the same. Functions.
Although Thanos in this movie was kind of one-dimensional,
You know what?
Because
Okay,
it's you've established the character in the first, so you kind of understand his reasoning for it. So you don't need to establish it
Would you
again.
say
The thing is, though.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. You go ahead.
I would just say he was. I mean, he was still important.
But he still had some epic lines.
He was very. Well, you had something
go
to say. So,
The last movie was his
Yeah.
movie. Like he was still.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He was still important to this movie, but he was more of a background
Well,
character.
What I'm saying is that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
supporting
Like he's
character,
one-dimensional in this movie, but he's one-dimensional in this movie because you don't need him to be three-dimensional.
What are you gonna say?
You
What are
know
you gonna
what-
say,
So the thing is with that,
Yeah.
the Endgame Thanos, number one, Endgame Thanos is really the past Thanos.
Yeah,
So
it's
this is-
basically
This
Guardians
was
of the Galaxy.
basically, yeah, before he really got started with getting the stones and
Yeah.
everything. So he was still in a mode where he was like, extra evil, extra cocky, like just
Yeah.
kill everything in sight. The thing is, like, the Infinity War version of
He was more
Thanos,
of a sociopath.
obviously he was a sociopath. He wanted to kill half the universe, but he had a more human side to him. He had more, like, he was better at reasoning things
Yeah.
and explaining himself, and he was more tired in a way.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell he's been through a lot. It's been, like, from 2014 till, last
that,
year.
That one day took a
He
heavy
was,
toll on him.
right, and, like, he'd already, like, probably did a whole ton of shit, like, on Xandar to get the Power Stone that we saw about, the beginning of Infinity War that we didn't see. And that's another thing. We didn't see it in this movie.
No.
I was hoping we would.
I thought in the trailers,
know.
I thought that what happens to be Avengers.
The Avengers Center, yeah.
I thought was Xandar.
That's what we all
That's
thought,
what I
yeah.
thought, yeah.
But I thought that was. I mean, technically it was the past Thanos, but they were in the present.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they were all in the past. But but going back to Thanos, like, so he was different in this movie because he was in a different point in his quest.
They fought a more evil Thanos.
Right, and like I said, like, but in the Thanos in the Infinity War was more, he's more worn, more, like, I think he was just in a place where, like, he knew the sacrifices that needed to be made. He was just more, like, wary of everything, and
Like he understood what had to be done.
In the beginning of Infinity War, like the first scene, which was a great scene, by the way, like in Thor's ship where he killed Loki, he killed Heimdall. He was kind of one-dimensional there.
Yeah.
He really didn't become like the more human Thanos until
His
his
speech to Doctor Strange.
Not even that. Like, I think once he got Gamora back, that's when he started to change into a more like, like that was when we saw the more like stepfather side of him, where he was explaining himself to Gamora.
The more humble Thanos.
Right, and then we saw like his evil side again when he was torturing Nebula. But then, like, like when he had to sacrifice Gamora, that's when he really started to, see, like, okay, like, I'm sacrificing, I'm giving so much just to achieve this. And by the end of it, by the time he snapped his fingers and, like, you saw, like, he was in the Soul World, which was confirmed that orange area that he was at the end of Infinity War, when he spoke to baby spirit Gamora. Like, you saw, like, how tired he was. You saw, like, how beaten he actually was because, like, he had to give up Gamora. He had to do all these things just to get
all
to
of his children.
All of his children, yeah. All, the Black Order all died. That was his children. So, like, that was him at the end of his quest.
Yeah.
So, like, and we saw that again in Endgame, where, like, in the beginning, where we saw the, him after the snap. He's, in his farmhouse, he was, half of him was like charred away. He was weak. He was just, really, he was already kind of beaten. That's why, like, the surprise where he got beheaded in a second by Thor.
What did you do? What did you do? I went for the head.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it had to happen. It was very satisfying. But, like, that's what the transition was in character. Like, that was the end of, Thor's current life. That was the end of the Thor that we knew of in Infinity War. So when we saw him again later on in the movie in 2014, he was still in, like, rage mode. Like, he was still, like, like, he hadn't given...
You mean
given
Thanos? You said
Thanos.
Thor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Thanos. Like, he was still, like, in rage mode. He hadn't given anything up yet. He hadn't worn himself away just yet to...
But there's two things that I want to talk about for Thanos. Was like, I thought when Gamora saw the whole... Not Gamora. When he saw Nebula and the Avengers and stuff, and he met, like, Tony Stark, and not met Tony Stark, but he saw him, I thought, oh, that's how he knows who he was in Infinity War. When he's like, Stark. How do you know me?
No, he knows him because...
You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
I knew... No, he knew him because of the events of Avengers 1.
Yeah.
When... Because he knew... He was probably like, who the hell just nuked my Shatari ship?
Yeah. And then the other thing was he did have, like, a lot of epic lines. Mm-hmm. Like, you saw, like, the calmness in him. Like, he understood what needed to be done. So when he saw himself being beheaded...
Yeah.
he
Like,
was
we
like,
won.
no, like a normal person would be like, oh my god, like disturbed by that. But he
knew
he
he
saw
won.
that and he said, well, I did it. I did what I set out to do. This is destiny fulfilled.
Yeah.
If I had to die after the fact of what I did, so be it. I did it.
Yeah,
You
but you
can
know
kill
what?
me,
Let me. But then he realized that like they found a way to go back
Yeah.
to their time period to
To
like
undo
undo
it.
it.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, let me kill these fuckers.
Yeah.
and
And
maybe,
he said Avengers. I was like, Avengers, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, he knew, he
exactly,
knew.
He knew
He
exactly
knew.
what they were.
Yeah, but yeah. So that was the case with Thanos. Like I said, they handled his character properly. I had no problem. I didn't think he was one dimensional. I thought it actually added a dimension to him because it showed who he was. Like, you know, because he always seemed that way. Like in the post credit scenes of like Age of Ultron and Guardians of the Galaxy 1, he seemed more brutal. He seemed more like, you know, a dick.
Oh yeah.
And, whereas in like Infinity War, he really seemed more human almost. But I think this Endgame showed like where he came from, in that sense.
I gotta give Jimmy some fucking credit. He's more engaged in this conversation than I am.
Jimmy, no spoilers, man. What did we tell you? God,
You haven't seen it yet. Get out of here.
don't be mad at me if you know with all the things I'm saying.
I think me and Jimmy could have a one-off Avengers podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was happening when you saw it in your theater, but when they're at Avengers headquarters and they finally the Avengers got all the stones from the timeline, and then the Hulk works it, and then Hulk does the snap. Did your whole theater go oh shit when Thanos bombed the?
No, I was like, I was like, oh shit. I was oh shit. We were in oh shit.
That was like we were like.
Oh, so the beginning of the third act where he
Yeah.
just missiles out the entire
Where he just
Avengers Center.
Carpet bomb.
That was an insane scene. My heart dropped. I lost all hope, and Ant-Man should have died.
Yeah, but
That's all I will say. Ant-Man.
Hold on.
What a
No.
But Jimmy,
fucking story.
but Jimmy, you watched The Crow 1,000 times this year, but you've seen it already. You haven't seen the movie yet.
I don't know, Jimmy. I mean, like I said, don't be mad at me when we're or us rather when we're talking about these spoilers. But
Should we tell Jimmy that Ant-Man does corrupt Daniels?
yeah, actually,
Ant-Man does crawl up Thanos' ass, and Thanos poops him out. It's fine.
Jimmy, so there is a post-credit scene. They use the machine again as a what if. Like, let's go back to this timeline and see what would happen if Ant-Man actually did go up Thanos' ass and expanded. And and then the credits rolled after. So
One thing that I have to skip around again that I have to give him credit for is that after not using them or cutting their scenes out of Infinity War was the arcs that Scott Lang and Hawkeye had in these movies. Like, they really owned the scenes that they were in.
I mean, I think anybody who didn't have much screen time in Infinity War got much more screen time in this movie. Like Captain America really wasn't that prominent in Infinity War, but he was actually the star of the show this time. He had the most amount of screen time.
This was his movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had
Captain America Endgame. Might as well have been called that.
he got his happy ending.
Right. Oh, he did. Absolutely. Yeah. But well, going back to the beginning of the third act, like I said, it was great.
Oh, he did something I never did.
It was great. I mean, it's great that he was Ant-Man was still alive. I think he should have, like, the way that they placed him. He took a missile to the face.
Who, Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
Oh,
He shrunk himself in time.
No, he didn't. He got blasted back. I saw it. I watched it again on YouTube. He got blasted back. He didn't. He shrunk.
Now I gotta watch that back.
He got blasted. I saw it, but I saw it.
Suspension of disbelief.
We were 4 rows away from the screen. I saw exactly how he got hit. He took a missile to the face. Even if he shrunk, there's no way in hell that he would survive that. I think, and honestly, they should have killed him off. I think that would have been like a dropped hope scene, like where it's like, oh, like, you know, like Scott Lang, Ant-Man is just like, you know, like Hulk did the snap, everything seems back to normal. Hawkeye's getting a call from his wife, and Scott Lang is looking out into the sun, and everything looks beautiful. And then, you know, everything went silent, and then you see, like, you know, Thanos' ship is right there, and he shot a missile, and it's already coming. And then still silence. Boom! Everything explodes. Thanos annihilates.
Oh yeah.
the Avengers Center, which was insane. It was a great scene, but he should have been another death in that movie. That honestly, if they made him die, I would have felt something. Like that would have been like an emotional death because it was like you had hope that everything was that they did it, and then Thanos took it all away, and Scott Lang would have been taken with it. If they didn't want to kill him, they should have put him somewhere else. Like they should have been like, oh crap, there's a missile over there, and then like the shit starts collapsing.
Well, the other thing is the deaths in this movie are permanent. Like
yes, they are.
Yeah,
very much so.
Before we get to the biggest one, the Black Widow one surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I thought Hawkeye was going over that cliff.
Well, as I shared in our group chat, originally they wrote Hawkeye as the one that was taking the jump.
Yeah, no, they made the right decision making it Black Widow.
Yeah. But then that messes up the Black Widow movie.
It's gonna be a prequel.
I know.
Prequel. But it made sense. Like their reasoning was like her whole reason for being at that point after the snap was just bringing the Avengers back together. She was the one that was holding everything together. Yeah. She was the glue. So like once she actually got everybody back together, like she was able to rest in peace because like she was able to achieve what she really wanted. She wanted because that was her family. She wanted everybody back together, and you saw how broken she was.
Oh yeah, she was crying
after the 5-year jump. Like after they realized that Thanos couldn't, they couldn't reverse it and everything. She was basically like the new Nick Fury, just trying to desperately find shit to fix. And like at one point she was like Okoye from Wakanda was like, oh, there was a trench earthquake in the middle of the ocean. She's like, what can we do? And she's like, it's an earthquake. So like, which is
a reference to Namor.
Right? Yeah.
Submariner. Yeah.
Basically like the Aquaman of Marvel, right? Yeah. But like, I think the point of that scene was just like she was just so desperate to like help the world, Black Widow, that like she was just trying to go after the most ridiculous things. That's why even Okoye was like, you don't help that. It's an earthquake. What the hell do you want us to do? She was just so desperate. So like once she got the Avengers back.
Oh yeah.
That was like, okay, like I can die in peace. Like let me go.
The Red Skull looking like Darth Maul once again.
Yeah. I was really happy that like Captain Marvel was in the movie for like.
She was in
for like 12 minutes.
She got good. She wasn't like the OP.
They didn't overpower, and I like the fact which they should explore it more in like her later movies. That Thanos literally took a stone and just went. And that's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because if you think about it, this was the first time she probably was overpowered by somebody.
She was in the beginning, and she was in the towards the end. Yeah. But one thing I kind of was a little disappointed they didn't do is like her power from the Tesseract during against the actual stone that Thanos had.
Yeah. So getting what you were saying about the Tesseract, and getting back to what you were saying about time. Splits. Loki.
Yeah. Okay.
He's alive somehow.
Somehow. Yeah.
So,
in one timeline.
Can we rewind a little bit? I just want to right before that Loki
Well, okay.
scene.
So yes. So let's
can
rewind.
We talk about Hulk?
Hulk was eating the ice cream that was referenced in.
First of all, with Hulk.
Yeah.
Thank you, Russo brothers, for making the meme of Credible Hulk real and canon. That was amazing. Not everybody will agree with me because like between him and Thor, a lot of like Hulk and Thor fans were like, oh, they ruined our characters, but I thought they were great.
Yeah.
But so like in that scene where where Loki escapes, they're back in time to Avengers 1, and it was right after they beat Loki.
Oh, I loved it. I was jumping out of my seat. I was like, the Battle of New York.
Which I love, by the way. Like it showed like between that and Thor: The Dark World, like that.
No, and then you see the Avengers.
It was like a behind the scenes type of thing. Like it was like okay, what do they do after they after they win? Like they just walk and they collect all the shit that they got damaged.
And probably the best line of the movie.
Stairs.
No. No. That's like. In almost every movie that Ant-Man is in with Captain America, he's fanboying over Captain America.
You want me to say it?
No, hold on. And Tony Stark is like, damn. And I like how they went meta because like everybody complained about Captain America's suit in the first Avengers movie, how it was like weird looking and stuff like that.
So they were just staring at his ass.
And then Tony Stark was like, I can't believe that suit is actually real. That does nothing for your ass. And Ant-Man is like, no, man, no.
That's America's ass.
That's America's ass.
But no, so that was awesome. And then so like in continuing that scene, like after like they arrest Loki and and we see how Loki gets that mouthpiece that he has at the end of the first Avengers. Like he was just talking.
No, it's cool. I know. I like the fact how after he says, "I'll have that drink now," you see what happens after that part, and you see like the chaos. It was still chaos. Shield was coming in,
right?
and
But it's
doing
like
all
it was
stuff,
almost like that's what I'm saying. It was almost like a behind the scenes thing in a way that like you see like what happens directly after they beat somebody.
But what's also funny is that scene actually connects again to Age of Ultron because Shield came in and took the
Tesseract?
the scepter, and they're like, yeah, we're going to give it to people to examine.
So that
turned out to be Hydra.
So that and you're right because like I remember in like the Age of Ultron post credit scene, like they had the scepter, and it's like how the hell did they get the scepter?
Yeah.
But now they explained it in this movie. So one of the many things that they tied together.
Yeah, they tied a lot together. Yeah,
they touched upon it in a couple episodes.
Stairs.
They touched.
So going back to
no
Hulk.
more stairs.
Yeah, so they're all going back to Hulk. They all go on the elevator, and then like Hulk is obviously too big and heavy to go on the elevator.
No, but I like how all of them.
Poor Hulk.
I don't know.
Tony's
I like how all of them were like, whoa, you can't come on
Tony
here.
was. I was saying, poor Hulk. Like Tony's like, oh, like he was like saying like he was like too heavy and all that stuff. He was like,
So
you gotta take the stairs. He's like, yeah. And then like,
And I'm like, can't they just jump?
I was.
I
That
know.
was a
He has to
Ghostbusters.
leap.
That was a Ghostbusters reference.
What, the stairs?
Yeah, because they walk up the stairs in Ghostbusters, and they're like, oh, how many more stairs? And Hulk's going down. It's like, no more stairs.
There's so many stairs.
Yeah, he has the crazy leaping ability. He could have just jumped
He could
out.
have just jumped out the window. It was fine.
But then,
Cap versus Cap.
no, not even that. No, we're not done with Hulk yet.
Oh yeah, and then
So-
they had the Spider-Man meme where it was
No,
like,
not even that.
Yeah,
Not even that. So like when they're dealing with Robert Redford and like dealing with the Tesseract and stuff, Tony tries to present day Tony in the past tries to steal it, obviously to get the Space Stone, and right before he moves out, Hulk finally comes out of the door and just like bangs it open. He's like, stairs! And, he like swings the metal door open and knocks out Tony and like just starts yelling about stairs, and everybody's just like screaming, running away from
and
Hulk.
then low-key grabs the Tesseract and goes,
And then he escapes, yes. And I think that's going to be the
that's
Loki
gonna be
show.
the Loki show.
Yeah, so when Disney Plus comes out, that's definitely going to be the premise of Loki's show.
So
but-
Loki's
Semi-canon.
alive.
Yeah,
Alive.
He's
Somewhere
semi-canon
out
in
there.
another timeline.
He's a hologram somewhere.
Yeah. So what else were we about to say?
The Cap versus Cap.
Cap versus Cap. Yeah.
That is America's ass.
Yeah. Was that taken from a comic book at all?
No.
Like where he fights himself?
No.
Because that was pretty cool.
That's great.
That is America's ass.
That's great when
That is America's
when,
ass.
when present day Cap goes, "Are you shitting me?" And then they show Avengers Cap, and then they start.
Or
It's
Cap,
like language.
or like the past Cap that he was fighting. He was
like,
like,
I found Loki.
I can do this all day.
He's
And
like,
President
yeah,
Cap's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I know.
I know.
That
I
was
found
good.
Loki.
Yeah.
I found
that was
Loki.
good.
Yeah.
I thought that was really
And then
funny.
when 2012 Cap looked like he was gonna choke
He's
him out,
alive, huh?
and he used the Spectre to knock.
To knock him out. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to.
It's like Loki's alive. Oh.
Yeah, and then because of Loki escaping, I guess so like that was when
They went back.
Tony and Cap went back further in time to 1970
1970.
to the
There was a
old
lot
Shield.
of Easter eggs there.
Yeah. Oh, the biggest one. I never even knew this because I never
you saw
watched
the
it.
Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man man.
That was awesome. I noticed that.
I'm so glad Michael Douglas came back.
Oh yeah.
Michael Douglas with his beautiful hair.
Yeah,
I might have been
beautiful
CGI.
name.
Yeah. That was probably CGI. I don't know if that was a wig.
The original helmet was on the desk.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the antenna. Yeah, that was cool.
Did you catch?
I was like, oh my god, are we going to see like Zola come back?
He was mentioned, right?
Yeah, he was mentioned, but it wasn't. I was like, oh shit, are they?
Yeah,
Gonna
it was cool that they got back Tony's dad one last time, and he was able. That was another thing that they closed. And
They
honestly,
that was a
and
callback to Iron Man 2.
Looking back, like after that whole scene between Tony and his father, like when he obviously he's older, and he's the present day Tony runs into his past father, and whose wife was just about to have
Tony.
baby Tony,
Yeah.
which I thought was funny, and like he was able to like indirectly make amends with him, and like after like watching that movie, I came out, I was like, I probably should have seen. I mean, in the back of my mind, I knew Tony was probably gonna die, but I was like, that was like the confirmation scene that he was going to die, because like he finally made like amends in his own head with his father.
You know what? Hold on. You know, I just realized. You know how we were talking about like there was a Star Trek reference in it. There was actually 2 Star Trek references. There was a Star Trek reference in the credits
Of course, Christian would think of this.
when you saw the signatures.
Yeah.
Well, they did that in the last original
Oh really?
wow. Star Trek 6. They had all the cast members with the signatures. Did your theater stand up and do a standing ovation when Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
signature?
I
yeah,
clapped.
we all were clapping.
I didn't. I don't think anybody stand, but like
Yeah, no,
I was. Whooping.
my theater was jumping up and
I was
clapping.
whooping.
Well, getting back to 1970.
Hey, without him.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they used the actor from Captain America: First Avenger, the younger Howard Stark, played by Dominic. Was it Dominic?
Dominic something or another.
I mean, that was because if
And
you
then-
saw Iron Man 2, like that remember the video that he watched of his father?
Yeah.
like, that was from that same time period, and that was the same actor. So like they
Nah,
had to.
I
use him.
guess
because
it makes
Agent
sense.
Carter takes
Yeah.
place in like the 60s,
50s,
Yeah.
50s.
in the 50s. So
Yeah.
like that would be
No.
1970 was
No,
still 20 years
late-
after that, and
yeah.
30
late-
years after.
Agent Carter is like late 40s,
Yeah, early
early
50s.
50s.
So like this is like the 1970s. So it was like 20 years, almost 20
Yeah,
years.
and 30
later.
years after Captain
And-
America.
and
And then after Tony was talking to his dad, I'm like, then at that point you knew that Cap was going to see Peggy Carter,
Yeah.
Right.
whose full name is Margaret Carter.
Margaret. Yeah.
Martha?
Martha.
Yeah.
Martha,
Can you-
save Martha.
Can you imagine? Oh my God.
Wrong franchise.
Speaking of Peggy Carter, though, there was I didn't know this because I never watched her standalone show, but apparently,
Which
so
was-
at the end of that 1970 scene, Stark's father calls, his car comes up and out comes the
Jarvis.
original Jarvis, who was the actor from the Carter
Agent
show,
Carter, yeah.
Agent Carter, who was apparently he is the first TV to movie character.
Which is another rant for another time.
Yeah.
But see, Christian, they can include
Yeah,
TV
but I've explained
actors.
to you
I
why
know,
they can't
I know the
explain it, yeah.
difference in
Oh,
in
Joe's
the,
getting hostile.
in the different divisions.
You know, the closer he gets to the mic, the more intense he gets. It's like that's another thing I wanted to say.
Well, I want to say
all
something.
kidding aside, but yeah, TV actors can make the jump to movies. But the 1970s stuff, that was another cool scene, and Tony knew where to find the Tesseract, where they kept it in 1970.
So I have a
Which I'm trying to figure out if that contradicts Captain Marvel for a minute. No, it doesn't.
No,
Captain
No.
Marvel's 90.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What comment are you gonna make, Jared?
No, I just have a movie-like environment question.
Oh, God.
So for the whole
Joe's cringing
for the
already.
whole moments of like seeing that movie, was there ever a moment where it just got like too overly emotional and you're just looking back like,
Endgame?
bro, really? Yeah,
Like I was like turned off by like the
Exactly.
No, not really. I mean, it like I said, the Russo brothers did a really good job tying all the loose ends and closing all the open circles in like the entire
When,
MCU. So like I never really. I just love the movie.
I guess when Hawkeye and Black Widow were fighting for the right to die, it was a little odd, but in the
well,
Joe, I just want to
Kinda,
say
but,
something
like-
to you, Joe. I would so push you off. Not even hesitate. I'd be like, well,
Christian
okay.
would be like, Joe should be
No,
banned.
Joe, no,
Joe should
no,
be
hold
banned
on.
from the podcast.
So, Red Skull goes to Joe, goes, you must give up the one thing that you love. Joe goes, I can't give up my pancakes.
It's like quick. Let me bake some pancakes so I can throw them off the cliff.
One thing I picked up on is when they were all mourning Black Widow's death, and Hawkeye goes, "Go ask the floating redhead guy," and he said it in front of Captain America. I was waiting for a Cap reaction, but they kind of.
What was that? Who was you referring to?
Like,
He's friend of Red Skull in front
He's like,
of...
go ask the floating guy, and
Oh.
Captain America's right there. He's like, wait, what floating red guy? Something like that. But
He probably didn't realize who he was talking about.
Yeah.
It could have been just like a red alien that they.
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, you might as well,
But if you think, I'm skipping ahead to like the end where he obviously he goes back in time and he comes back old and all that stuff. But he had to basically at the end of all that he had to go return the stones, right?
Yeah.
So one
And
of the
then
stones is the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Which means he had to return the Soul Stone to Vormir, which means that he had to run
Yeah.
into Red Skull.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
That's true. That's very
did
true.
you set up for Cap 4?
Yeah, imagine that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the Captain America, probably the next Captain America thing with Captain America in it is probably the Disney Plus series Winter Soldier and Falcon,
Yeah, which is
Which
probably going to be called Winter Soldier and Captain America now.
which is now Captain Falcon.
Yes, Captain Falcon. We got
Confirmed.
We got Credible Hulk and
Or-
we got Captain Falcon.
or he'll still be Falcon on the show
Yeah.
that will launch into him becoming Captain America in a movie.
I think in the comic books he's still Falcon, but he has the mantle of Captain America.
He becomes Captain America.
Yeah.
So, before we get to the huge battle scene, after Avengers headquarters explode, and then you see Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man walking together.
Can we talk about Thor really quick before we
All
get
right.
to that? Because I feel like that that's a significant. What was your thoughts on that?
That he
On
looked
what-
like,
I'm interviewing you now, but I was like, what was your
he
thoughts
looked
on
like
Thor?
He looked like the dude.
the whole Thor
He
thing.
was just the dude from
the dude.
Yeah,
he was
he was Obadiah Stane.
he was Obadiah Stane.
Jeff Bridges,
I
basically.
mean, how would you react if you pretty much, if you think about it, not counting Star-Lord,
Yeah,
but
he was one sandwich away
you
from
were,
fat.
yeah, but you were, if you were the guy that thinks that you were the one that caused the whole universe to disappear
Oh, yeah, no, I
by
didn't
not
have a
going for
problem
the
with
head,
it. I
you would
didn't-
probably do that
Right,
too.
no, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was funny. I mean,
Yeah.
if, like hardcore Thor fans were
I mean,
probably
I
like,
thought
"What
in
is
the
that?"
beginning, in the beginning, it was funny. I think it went on a little too long. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, like he's still
it was
fat,
like the
even though-
it was
They were
like
trying to make Thor more
I will
human.
say,
it was like the joke kept going. It's like, yeah, okay.
he kind of looked badass with that belly and like the braided beard and
Yeah.
everything, had both
Yeah,
weapons
he
in hand. Like that,
he
like,
looked
had,
like he
that
looked like a
open-
Viking.
Yeah, he really looked like a Viking. That's
Yeah,
what,
at that
that's what
point,
it was. Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
So yeah. So,
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway, Joe.
So when the three of the original Avengers walking out of all the damage and the wreckage, and they're face to face with Thanos,
Yeah.
and then like you just mentioned, Thor has the Stormbreaker, which he got from the last movie, and the hammer that he finally got back when he went back to the past, and the three of them are taking on Thanos, who, with that crazy armor and that crazy weapon, but.
Yeah, everybody complained real quick, and then I'll throw it back to you real quick. Everybody complained in the last movie. Why doesn't Thanos have his armor?
well, here we go.
Yeah, we
no,
are.
I thought that was symbolic. I thought
Yeah,
like
that was
I
like-
thought in Infinity War
Yeah,
that
the more
he
stones he got, the
intentionally
more
took
vulnerable.
off. Right,
He
but-
felt invincible. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
like he intentionally took off his armor in the beginning of Infinity War for a reason. I felt like it was supposed to be like that was like his more human side again. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
what,
was
what
like
I
I've
was saying
become
before.
like
I
when
don't
he had
need
two
armor.
stones.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Banner said in Infinity War, he's now the most. He has two stones. He's the most powerful being.
Yeah, like he knew he
knew
didn't
at that
need
point.
armor. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't need it.
So,
So anyway, I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
So to use a wrestling term like that, we all marked out like
Yeah.
when Thor, when Thanos is pushing the.
Oh yeah, so
The
I'll pave it out for you. So like, Thanos is just wailing on Thor,
Thor, yeah.
on Thor.
Punching him
Punching,
straight in the
like
face.
literally,
I
like
thought
just
I thought he was gonna snap his neck.
basically he was doing what he did to Tony Stark in Infinity War. But he was doing it to Thor.
What
Right.
about when Thor summoned
Yeah.
the Stormbreaker? Thanos catches
Yeah,
it.
catches it
Right.
and goes to push into his chest. And I'm thinking like, if this was present Thanos, to him that would have been like payback for like
Right.
pushing the thing in his
Yeah.
chest.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
probably what. That's
That's
probably
what
why.
they, that's what they alluded
yeah.
to.
That's
then
definitely
when
what it was.
then
You're right. I
when
didn't even think of that.
then when
yeah.
Mjolnir started lifted up.
It took me a second.
I knew. No, at that point I knew.
It took
I
me-
know.
it- no,
I was
it
like,
took
I was
me-
like, this movie.
It was.
I was like,
It was right. Like there was a scene where like it lifts up in slow motion. Like right after that scene ended, I was like, no.
and then Thor's
then
like, Thor's like, I knew it.
Yeah,
The
no, like
part-
it swung at first. Like if you weren't privy to it, like
Yeah.
it swung towards Thor. So like you're like, oh shit, okay, maybe it's him. But then it went past him and then went back past him and Thanos
To
again.
Captain America
And
himself.
then Captain America.
Captain
caught it.
America's worthy.
Dude, I erupted.
Our theater.
Our movie theater
our entire theater
erupted.
erupted.
But
But like you can
you-
ask like my girlfriend Jen was just sitting right next to me and she just
Not
went,
understanding what was going on.
She was looking at me going ballistic. I was screaming at the like top of my
You,
lungs.
me, and Kenny were fanboying so
'Cause
badly and
we've
marking
already
marking
heard-
out.
Yeah.
We've always heard like all the rumors like, oh, he's definitely gonna use his hammer one day. And
So
I
Well,
would've-
there was
Yeah,
no
so
way. There's
I
no way
would've
that they were
went for
going to
you
do
guys
that in
marking
Age
out
of
alone.
Ultron.
Yeah.
There's no way they would do that
Well,
in
he
Age of
couldn't.
Ultron and not pay off it.
He could. Well, he could in Age of Ultron. He almost did, but he couldn't because he was showing pride, and that made
See
him
now
less than
Jimmy's
worthy.
like, wait, what?
Yeah, see, this
Tell
is,
him
yeah.
to log on.
Yeah,
We're
stop.
spoiled-
Get off.
we're spoiled- we're-
Watch it. Give him viewers after you watch the movie.
But not
See,
only
we don't always have to like our fans.
But not only was he, using the hammer and swinging it at Thanos, he was summoning the lightning.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's Captain Thor.
It's as Odin enchanted it. He said, like, whoever so is worthy of this will hold the power of
No,
Thor.
the best
and he
line-
held the power of Thor.
The
So
best
he used
line
lightning.
was. The best line was Captain America had Stormbreaker and Thor's like, no, give me
No.
that.
Oh,
Give me
yeah.
that.
Well, during the
take
big
the- you
fight,
take the
yeah.
little
You take
walk
this
the
one, I'll
little-
take this one.
Yeah. Well, we're working our way up to that point,
Yeah, yeah.
though. So, like, so, like, he's fight. So, Yeah, like Captain America's like that. Like I said, the entire theater's erupting. Like Captain America's literally like fighting with lightning and the hammer and everything.
The thing
Thanos.
is, he's using lightning to like electrocute.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
somehow Thanos overpowers him, and then he starts
That
cutting.
armor, man.
Yeah,
And then he runs into a Scarlet Witch.
Well, not even that. I'm saying like as he's fighting as he's fighting Captain America, Thanos, like he's using that giant ass sword to like literally cut away at the vibranium shield, which was like, I was getting nervous.
Which
I was
is
like,
the me too.
I
Which
thought he
was
gonna die.
the Vision.
That and right.
If you look at the aesthetic and the way like the monsters
right,
are
no,
coming in, like,
his shield was cut in the exact same way
Yeah.
that it was cut in Tony Stark's Vision.
So
in
which
Age of
led you
Ultron.
to think was
Yeah.
that a vision or was that like
Well, that was also partly ripped from the comics.
Yeah.
When
Well, it was a
Thanos-
vision of a possible.
Yeah.
Like they had already lost. Like they were all dead.
yeah
So like it was a vision of a possible timeline.
yeah.
So that's what it could have happened, but it didn't. So
So the big moment that everybody
yeah. So
Yeah.
Captain America, his shield's
Yeah.
broken. He's about to get killed. It's literally just and
Thanos brings in the Black Order, his
Yeah.
army.
yeah. And
was
and
it the Chitauri
and
too
Thor-
were there
and Thor
or,
is
or
not-
it was just the other
the
what's this-
Chitauri, everything,
yeah.
everybody that he had.
The
Black-
the dragon types from Avengers
Yeah.
1.
So it was the Chitauri and the other ones. Okay.
And the Black Order and everything, and like like Tony Stark's knocked out, Thor's knocked out. The others are still trapped underneath the rubble and everything. So it's
It's
like I
literally
said, you
Captain America facing down the
and
whole army
like I
at this
said,
point.
like I was saying before, you get this beautiful shot of Captain America just standing alone with his broken shield up against the entire Titan army, and then last second you hear like Steve.
You see
on
something
your
in the
left,
background.
on your left, and I almost didn't know whose voice that
No,
was.
you see it like on the back. You see like this little
You could?
orange thing. Yeah, you see this little orange
The
thing.
sparkle.
Oh, I didn't
This
even
little
notice
sparkle behind Cap. And then all of a sudden it opens up and you hear on your left.
that. I didn't even see any of that until after like the guy after
And then
Falcon
it's
said it.
every damn superhero.
Yeah, well, at first it was like
Every-
Falcon and Black Panther.
No,
and
Black
it's like,
Panther
yeah,
was
Black
first.
Panther.
Yeah.
He walked through with his sister and
Yeah.
the warrior.
And then the best line
Yeah.
was Doctor Strange like, is that everybody? Wong's like, you want more? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, what do
Well,
you mean?
it was one after the next. It was like first it was
I
just
think-
Black Panther, then Falcon, and then
Then the
Guardians of the
Guardians,
Galaxy,
then
and
the Revengers, then
the
the-
Valkyrie on the Pegasus was the most epic thing I've ever
Howard the
seen.
Duck was there too.
Howard the Duck was
Howard the
indeed
Duck was
there.
there,
Yeah. At one point they added him in.
And I might have, lost in the moment. I might have shouted, "Bring back everybody!" You know.
Go rally the army.
They
And then all of a
did.
sudden, you got the line, Avengers,
Yeah.
assemble.
Funny story with that part.
Yeah,
Getting
he-
lost in the moment.
Joe almost ruined the moment.
You screamed out assemble before Captain
Yes.
America.
Yes.
did, okay?
Yes, he did.
I told you that. Well, I told you that.
I
We
think
were
so,
like,
yeah.
Joe!
You're like, Joe, shut up.
Getting caught up in the moment.
Yeah,
Did you
we were
start-
all excited.
Did you start crying?
I almost did.
I was getting like,
like,
it wasn't crying. It was like, you know when you get like overly emotional and your eyes start to like well up a little bit.
It was, you know what it was? It was everything that you could have ever dreamed of in any comic book movie.
It was a sweaty nerd moment.
Yeah,
where
like it was
like,
pure fan service because, like, you know, like you had Doctor Strange and Wong like just portaling over
Wow.
every single
from every movie.
hero and character from every single movie. Even the Ravagers were flying in from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're the entire theater. Like, we were all erupting. We were all going.
The biggest
Pepper
biggest-
was there too.
Pepper as rescue,
Yeah.
like
The
that
biggest cheer was
Oh,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
When Spider-Man came swinging.
Yeah.
Kenny lost his shit.
Yeah, Spider-Man came swinging in, talking to. He like walked up to Tony Stark like, "Hey man, you remember when we were in space?
Yeah.
And I got dusted and I came back. Wow, what's going on?" And Tony Stark just grabs him and like gives
We
him like
all
the
we
biggest
all
bear
clapped.
hug
We
ever.
all clapped. Honestly, that was almost a more emotional moment
Yeah.
for me than his,
I
the
knew
death
at that
himself.
point. At that point, when he hugged Spider-Man, I'm like, he's not
Yeah.
getting out of this damn thing alive.
But question
Doctor
remain-
Strange
my
was
question-
was good. He was only in it for like a little bit, but
Well, he had so. I think he had so much screen time in the first movie.
Well, he was
Yeah.
dead.
Well,
Yeah.
he was dead. Yeah.
But like, he had, like I said, anybody who had like a prominent role in the first movie didn't have so in this in Endgame and vice
It
versa.
flipped.
Like,
It
yeah,
When Tony asked Doctor Strange, "Is like, is this when we win?"
And he said,
I can't tell you.
"I can't tell you.
Yeah.
If I tell you, it won't happen."
Yeah.
the cool female
Moment. Yeah.
moment when they all back up Captain Marvel.
Well, you're skipping ahead.
I'm skipping
Yeah,
ahead.
you're skipping ahead. So
Did we get to the part with Ant-Man's truck
That's a little.
yeah, no, so
with the van, the horn during the middle of the battle?
so Thanos realizes like, oh shit, he's losing, and
Yeah.
he tells his ship to like carpet bomb, and they're like, But
Well,
we have our
he realizes that when
no, but he's like, you want to do? He goes, the carpet bomb him. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about
he's like fire now because like Wanda was about to kill him.
Wanda was like ready to.
She was about to give him a slow,
him.
and she was about to give him a slow, painful
Yeah, she was
death.
gonna give him a slow, painful
she
death.
Was, and it was so awesome. She was awesome, to be honest with you.
Like you
obviously
see her eyes glowing, and it's like
Elizabeth Olsen's awesome in that.
That
role.
was like her only like real scene. But like,
so you took everything from me, bitch. I don't even know who the hell you are.
Yeah, and then she's like, "You will," and I was like,
You
"Oh
will.
shit, she's gonna kill him," and she almost did. She was taking away his armor little by little. She wanted to kill him slowly, and she would have. She was going to.
Getting back to that line, the carpet bomb people, and then when there's a huge, and then there's a huge explosion in the sky.
I thought that I didn't think Captain Marvel because I totally forgot about.
I forgot about her because she was gone for a couple hours.
Me too.
So I thought. He's like, oh shit, I'm losing. I got to separate everybody. I thought he was aiming for like a city.
Really?
To make everybody like run and save the city from being blown
Right.
up.
Honestly,
that's a good deal.
I actually had like a really crazy thought for that split second before I realized it was Captain Marvel. I thought he was just shooting shit towards the ozone layer to like fuck up the atmosphere or something like that.
And then, and then all of a sudden you see, and then you hear Friday. Friday goes, something just entered the atmosphere, and I'm like,
I was like, oh, Captain Marvel.
And I'm like, and me in my head, I'm like, here she comes to save the day because we gotta do it.
Ronda Rousey.
No, it was.
I liked her. I don't know. I like Captain Marvel.
She's good in
I was like, here we go. She's gonna save the day.
Not a lot of people. Like, there are people that don't like Brie Larson. I thought she's doing. I think she's doing a good job.
What did you think of?
I liked her haircut.
Yeah, no, she looks a lot better with
She
the
looks a
short
lot
haircut.
better with the short
She
hair,
looked like perfect to a T how the character looks now
Oh,
in the
yeah.
comic.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think?
So he's beaten up Captain Marvel's beating up Thanos, but that's skipping ahead. Go ahead.
What did you guys think of the hot potato of the Infinity Gauntlet between Black Panther, Spider-Man?
So funny line. So funny thing. So I'm gonna side note real quick. Funny about when I was dying because it was me and Larry and Max and Nicole. They were all laughing at me because they saw my face when Captain Marvel,
like we usually do.
When Captain Marvel was when Peter Parker was like, "Oh, hey, I'm Peter," and he's like, "Hey Peter Parker, you got something for me?" And they were all laughing at me because that's the exact way how I
talk to Jerry.
No, how I was telling the story about how I met Danielle Harris last month. That was like the exact verbiage. I was like, "Hey there," I'm like,
well, she wasn't. Were you saying she was like talking to him flirty?
A little bit.
Oh, Danielle Harris?
No, Captain Marvel to Peter Parker.
Yeah,
I thought she was. It was almost like oh hey little kid.
Yeah, like hey,
I just gotta say, in those moments, I play very hard to get with him.
Oh god.
Oh my god, Jerry.
So
they're playing hot potato.
Yeah, to keep it away from Thanos.
And then right when it looks like they're going to return the gauntlet back in time, like Thanos throws his sword thing and blows up the quantum.
The van?
Yeah, the quantum tunnel. Yeah.
When Hope came back, I totally forgot that she died in the after credit scene of Ant-Man and Wasp. But when she came through the portal too, like I thought that was a great moment that she got included in the huge battle.
Yeah. Well, they had everybody.
So now what was it? So the one thing about Captain Marvel was that he put on the gauntlet. And she was pulling it off. Something that something that they were trying to do in Infinity War. And
she was doing it by herself.
No, but she actually got it off a little bit because you saw him pull it back on after he took a stone off. He took the power stone off and just blast her. That was the last you saw of her.
That's right. She kind of disappeared after
that. I was hoping he would have taken off the space stone. It would have been power versus power. A Looney Tunes like thing was like,
So then he puts it back on, and he's like, and
I am.
No, and then Iron Man fights him. He just wails on Iron Man again, throws him off, and he goes, and I think is a great line. He goes, "I am inevitable," and snaps his fingers.
I'm not saying it, Jerry.
And he goes, and he looks at it, he's like this. He's like,
and you hear the clank.
And he's like, he's doing it like, why isn't this working? And you just see Tony Stark on the side.
Tony still.
And the stones form up his arm.
Yeah.
The fact
on
that
the gauntlet, on his own gauntlet.
The fact that the Iron Man nanotechnology armor formed its own version of the.
Tony Stark made his own Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
And then he did this.
Out of technology.
And Thanos looked at him like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And he goes, I am Iron Man, and just snaps his fingers.
That was an epic moment.
And no, but the look on Thanos' face when he knew he lost, he just sat there and took. He
took the L.
He sat down. He made that face like, and I thought he was just gonna like say something like, "How could you?"
Yeah.
Like you can't escape fate. He just sat there and he just.
Yeah.
You see first before we get to that, but when you see his army and the Black Orders slowly disappearing, but the moment when Thanos sits down and then he goes to dust, we erupted in ovation.
Yeah, I was like, bye bye.
Yeah. Now both,
but he was even.
But the thing is they made Thanos so evil in the last movie that you wanted him to die.
Right.
They killed him twice.
Yeah. Honestly, though, and like you said, the "I am inevitable" thing, like called
that's
like
the
beginning of the movie when he said it too, right before he got his head chopped off, which was like, what was your theater's reaction when his head got chopped off? Skipping all the way back.
Yeah, they were like, oh, they went.
I went like, holy shit! I was like, what the
hell? When they chopped off his arm, evereverone was like, oh.
I was like, oh, now you did it.
Now you did it.
I was like, good night, everybody. Good
Larry,
roll credits.
Larry. When the screen went blank, Larry's like. You mean this is going to be 2 hours, 45 minutes of credits?
Yeah.
And the whole movie theater started laughing because it was really silent at that point.
Yeah.
2 minutes, 45 minutes of credits.
The beheading scene, I was kind of surprised by that. It was a PG-13 movie, but they didn't hide the beheading at all. Like, they showed his head flop off.
That's what Larry was saying.
And then they showed, like, Nebula, like, shutting his eyes, his dead eyes, like, as the head is just laying on the ground. I was like, damn.
One thing my father is not, that he's not a liar.
I'm not telling you, Jimmy. You're going to have to watch it.
Why we can't say?
He's asking me, what do you mean they killed him twice?
Just watch the goddamn movie and stop listening to our podcast.
So
you're killing me, man. I already saw the movie and you're killing me.
Yeah.
You know,
so we're not gonna say after the fact, after Iron Man does, because then we're going into actual.
You already said it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah,
he did the snap, but that's it. We're not gonna say what happens after.
There were 2 snaps in this movie.
Yeah.
So Hulk brought back.
Hulk did it.
No, there were 3 snaps because Thanos snapped.
But he didn't have the stones.
Yeah.
But Hulk, before the Avengers building got bombed, Tony had just made, I don't know how the fuck he made it so quickly, like the gauntlet,
They probably did it before.
The Stark Tech gauntlet. And maybe he had already had it prepared.
We love you too, Jimmy, but no.
I think we should talk. Just because Jimmy's listening to us doesn't mean we're talking spoilers. Why stop now?
Wait, can I write to him?
No.
So one funny scene when Peter Quill sees Gamora and he thinks that she.
Why is Gamora?
Gamora doesn't know who he is yet.
Yeah,
because it's the past Gamora.
No, because that's who I fall in love with. It was either you
or a tree.
It was either him or the tree. Which
So getting back to the confusing time travel theories.
Yeah.
So the fact that they killed a past Thanos from 2014 when it came to their future, shouldn't that have undone the events of Infinity Wars? Like Vision should have came back to life.
No, they established changing something in the past does not affect
the future.
Your current future.
That's what I was explaining before.
Because that causes a branch timeline.
Yeah, because like how I was explaining before, that they, instead of having to just go to the past, collect the stones, and then that changes the future. No, they in order to do what they needed to do to undo the snap, they had to go to the past, collect the stones, take the stones back to the present, snap again to bring everybody back, and then put the stones back so those past realities aren't fucked up. But that's why Vision isn't coming back. Yeah. That's why
Black Widow.
Well, Black Widow's not coming back because she. And I have a problem between Black Widow and Gamora. I'll get to that in a second. But Vision isn't coming back because he's dead. In that present time.
Right.
So and number one, he didn't die because of the snap. He died because Thanos physically killed him. And
Vision died twice too.
And same goes for Loki in that current timeline. Yeah. In the past timeline, in that scene where he escapes, that's a different timeline.
It's still.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean,
Infinity War to Endgame.
I'm going to explain it. The timeline still remains the same. When they took the Infinity Stones out from different timelines, that was causing branching timelines.
You sure the X-Men producers didn't produce?
Because when they took it, that branches the timeline out.
Right.
Until they returned it back, that caused everything to go back to one
right. That's what the Ancient One was explaining when she was doing that
Because the Ancient One
visual.
explained, if you take the Infinity Stone out, you're causing a cascade effect. Because in every movie, and Infinity Stone was the reason as to why they defeated a villain. Doctor Strange used the Time Stone to defeat Dormammu.
Right. So if you
They
take those stones
used
away
the
from
Mind
that,
Stone to stop
One
Ultron.
of the few movies where Infinity War Infinity Stone didn't factor in was Black Panther. So.
Yeah, which everyone thought that the Soul Stone was going to be in Black Panther.
I was kind of.
That's what I thought.
We could talk about Black Panther on another podcast, but real quick, I was kind of glad they let it be its own thing without any involvement of an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. My one problem though, I was gonna mention Gamora. If Black Widow's death was permanent from sacrificing herself to get the Soul Stone, how come Gamora's back?
Because that's past Gamora.
That's 2014 Gamora. She came.
But so that's true. But then at the end of the movie, Hulk is saying that when he used the machine again to bring let Steve Rogers bring back. No, not even that. When he snapped his fingers when he had the gauntlet, he said he tried really hard to bring her back. It still didn't work.
Black Widow.
Black
Widow. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So how come she can't get saved, but Gamora
Because
can?
the Soul Stone. Well, the Gamora is 2014 Gamora. The Soul Stone, in order to get the Soul Stone, that's for keeps. You get killed. That's it.
So in
That's for
theory,
keeps.
could they go to Vormir in like 2023, like right before she killed herself, and then take her to that future?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured that they could do.
Yeah. But then you have to fight Thanos.
Do you?
Yeah, because Thanos is there with Gamora.
No.
Oh, Black Widow.
Black Widow, I'm saying. Yeah.
Because then she wouldn't have jumped off.
Well, I guess you'd fuck up that
Yeah.
reality,
Yeah.
but you'd still bring her back to the reality where you won.
Yeah.
And so it's better because like she's in the reality that you won.
This is this is too much.
This
for
is the
us.
shit. Yeah, this is one of the issues I have with the movies that it does get very messy with the possibilities.
But the thing is Captain America going back to return all the stones causes the alternate timelines to not happen.
Yeah, I mean I get that.
The thing is like this: Hulk takes the time stone. When he disappears, he comes right back. That's literally how it worked.
Right.
But he came back as his older self because he stayed in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're talking about that, can we just talk about what happens after Tony snap?
Yeah.
Jimmy, I'm sorry, man, but
Jimmy said it's a soul for a soul. That's what it is.
Right.
It's for keeps. Yeah.
Right.
Tony Stark with the
So going back to where we were before, Tony Stark snaps his fingers.
It says I am Iron Man,
Iron Man.
which is perfect full circle.
Right.
and he makes
He did the ultimate sacrifice play,
Yeah,
which
he-
Captain
it was-
America said that he was incapable of
He
doing.
is honestly like if you think about it, you can like write like if this was like real life, this is what the Bible would actually be about.
But Tony Stark sacrificed.
Tony Stark would be the Jesus Christ.
When I heard the you remember the music from when Tony Stark went into the wormhole?
Oh, so I have a question.
Oh, that was that the same thing when he snapped his fingers?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
the same music, and I was like, when I first started
That's
hear
full
that
circle,
music,
too.
I was like, oh no.
Tony
Yeah.
making the ultimate sacrifice.
I was like, oh no, yeah, he made.
Yeah. So and I think it was a good death. It was a very good death because I mean like after like you see the side of him is charred up like I felt bad for him.
And he was incapable of talking.
He couldn't
That's
even speak.
what it was. He couldn't even speak.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's up his throat. He probably like his throat's probably taken out. But like he just flops back, down, and like everybody's coming to check if he's okay. Pepper checks.
Pepper's like, it's okay.
Friday,
you can
Friday
rest
check
now.
his condition. He's like critical condition.
Yeah.
And then
Pepper's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You saved it. You can rest
you
now.
can rest now. It's
Relax.
okay. We'll be okay. Like assuring them that your wife and kids are gonna be fine. You can rest. Like we'll be okay. And and then Spider-Man comes to see him.
No,
and he's
Spider-Man's
crying.
so upset at that point. 'Cause
I
not
know.
only did he lose Uncle Ben now, but he lost his father figure, which
father
was
figure,
yeah.
right? And then and then War Machine comes to see him, and then he passes and everything, and then that was well he passes as he's looking at Pepper, which was so nice.
What was cool, what was kind of a great moment during the funeral scene is like you saw the different casts
Yeah.
from all the movies as the
Did you
camera-
know who that one guy was? Because I did.
I found out later on.
Oh,
The kid,
the funeral you said?
Yeah.
you talking about the kid
Yeah,
from
that was the
Iron
kid
Man
from
3.
Iron Man 3. Yeah.
Yep.
But the
So
scene-
there's your one reference to Iron Man 3.
so Christian can sleep happy.
He's gonna
tonight.
be the next Iron Man. He'll probably be young
So
Iron Man.
one thing I mentioned to both of you guys, and Jerry was probably just there for no good reason. Like who would be the guy to deliver that final blow to Thanos to kill him? Technically, originally I thought Thor. Technically, I was right when they killed him the first time,
Yeah.
but I guess in the grand
Grand scheme?
scheme of things,
The graham crackers of things.
in the grand
Damn it, John, you took it before I
in the
did.
grand cracker of things, it makes sense to bring it full circle for Iron Man
Teddy
to make. For Iron Man to make the ultimate sacrifice to bring it full circle.
Side note, Jimmy brings up a really good point.
Yes.
What'd he do?
He said Captain America going back in time to spend time with Peggy, wouldn't that erase Peggy's family? Was it established in any
Yeah, that she
media
married somebody.
that Peggy had a family?
She got married. She had a husband.
Yeah, so, but if Captain America goes back in time
We don't
to
know
marry
what
Peggy,
happened. Maybe it was her
It's
husband.
it's another reality.
yeah, it's another reality.
Yeah, it's just one reality. The other reality that she always had with Captain America will always exist, and then
Yeah.
now he is a branched. Yeah, again,
But he
we're
shows
going back
up
to
in the
that
main
branch.
timeline as an old man.
It could cross. I mean, it's still I mean, because think about how early in the movie when they were testing out the quantum realm for time, they were using Ant-Man as the guinea pig, and then
I don't know.
He comes back as an old man, then a baby, and
Who peed myself? I don't know.
I can't believe how much makeup they put on Chris Evans to make him look like.
That's CG. That's
Yeah.
now okay. Well, you continue what you were
Yeah.
about to say because I have a theory.
that's CG. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty significant theory, and I think it'll make a lot of sense. But so I think when that scene with Old Man Cap was first incepted by the Russo brothers, I think the original intent was to have that old man be played by Stan Lee. Think about
I
it.
could see that.
Think about it, because this is the end of the last movie. He's getting old. I mean, even if he was still alive, it's the last movie in the entire saga. Out of all the cameos that you've seen him in every single Marvel movie, all the cameos that he's ever appeared in,
That would have been
This-
poetic.
right?
That
This
would've been
is the cameo to end all cameos of Stan Lee. So it's symbolic in that you have Stan Lee
It's a fun what if.
passing the mantle of Captain America, literally passing the shield over to the new Captain
Dude,
America.
you're like the Simpsons of this podcast.
Thanks, whatever that means. But,
I don't know what that means neither.
But no, but I honestly I feel like if he was in good enough health, because honestly by the time they were shooting that scene, he probably was way too old, too frail.
Really
He wouldn't have been. He wasn't able to do it. But I think had he been, if this was a few years ago, if he was in good enough health, I think he would have been old Cap.
They said it should have been. He should have been passing it to Bucky.
Yeah,
That's what they
Kenny, our friend Kenny, wished it was that. We were
I-
arguing about that, and then Jen goes like, "Stop, shh, guys,
I
quiet."
love.
It was like,
I love both characters from Captain America's group, Bucky and Falcon. Part of me wanted Bucky, but I could understand why it was Falcon. It does make sense.
I
though.
think Falcon was more ready to take the mantle than Bucky was. I
And-
mean, Bucky never showed any semblance of wanting to continue fighting.
I don't
And
think
Bucky-
Falcon has any type of the leadership skills that Captain
and Bucky's
America has.
more of a badass as Winter Soldier
He is,
anyway.
but number one, he's been even though he was brainwashed, he was an ex-assassin / terrorist for years and reaped war, caused chaos, all that shit with Hydra. And he's been so fucked up by all the back and forth brainwashing, defending his name, brainwashing and defending his name. I think he was just, by the time Endgame happened, that was it for him too. And I think, Falcon, yeah, he's not on serum. He's just a normal guy. He doesn't have crazy powers or anything like that. But I think he does. I mean, that's how they wrote it that way. They think Cap believed him to be the next leader in that sense. Like he has what it takes. And Falcon becomes in the comics, Falcon becomes Captain America too. So I mean, it's accurate.
Up until a couple years ago, he was the current Cap in the comics. So.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it.
So let's wrap this up in a nice bow with a couple of questions now. So where do we go now?
Well, the first question is, why is Jerry here?
Yes. Where do we go now? So I when I saw this movie, I was like, Marvel can come out tomorrow and say, that's it, we're good. Everything's there. We set out what we did, and we have a big franchise, and it's good. And it was the ending. It left nothing. It left some stuff open, like low key, but that's it. It wrapped everything up in a nice tight bow.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Here's the two movies I would want. I think we're definitely probably gonna get a Thor 4 if he's not with the Guardians.
You mean Dorfor, right?
Subject.
Yes,
And-
Jimmy, Doctor Doom.
And then I want a new Avengers movie, and you still have enough cast members to
Well,
make it happen.
So they said that they're going to give the Avengers brand a break, but it doesn't mean that they're going to do any type of crossover stuff. So when I'm thinking that the new
Secret Wars, Secret
well,
Empire.
no,
They will
no,
eventually.
meaning,
You know that's
meaning
bullshit.
like the name Avengers, they're giving it a break.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is their new, I guess, branding for like their type of Avengers thing would probably be like Illuminati, or like
That
or
would be-
maybe having like the X-Men.
Secret Wars.
Or well, no, like what is it like Avengers? That
Yeah.
like
I think this. Well, like
Yeah.
Kenny and I, and I'm sure you were like speculating too after Captain Marvel that like they can always focus more on
the past.
not the past, but like the Skrulls.
well, they're
and
gonna
not
go
Secret Wars.
cosmic. They
And
said
they're
they're
definitely
gonna
gonna go
focus
cosmic,
more
yeah.
on cosmic
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
So
And
Jimmy
that-
says
And you got the
Galacticus.
Eternals coming too.
Jimmy
Guardians
says
3.
Galacticus.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's another thing. Like
Fantastic
The
Four.
Asgard-
Yeah,
Guardians
I
of
think
the Galaxy.
honestly, like we'll probably eventually get X-Men, but I think Fantastic
that's not
Four
going to
will-
be for at least
Yeah, they
years.
need to
5
figure
years,
out how
another
to
5 years.
put that entire
Yeah.
school of mutants
Yeah.
and just introduce
Because that's what
mutants in general.
I thought in this movie, in Endgame, that there was going to be some weird thing with the quantum realm, some weird thing with
But there was just
that
way
they were gonna,
too
that they
much.
weren't going to go time travel jump. They were
You
gonna
really
do, like,
expected to see X-Men in this movie?
No. What I was expecting them to do was not do time travel, but do quantum realm multiverse jumping.
It's kind of what they were doing though.
As in, like, events are happening, but they're happening different.
So you have like semi what if?
Yeah, so
Right.
it's like,
scenarios?
here's the main timeline
Earth
of
616.
what's going on now.
Yeah,
But you go to this other point in time.
Like, here's,
here's the Battle of New York.
but like Ant-Man's here too.
But like no, so like example, the Battle of New York happens. Tony Stark goes through the wormhole, but doesn't come out.
Oh, like he dies.
Oh, what
Yeah.
if scenario?
Yeah.
And it's like that's a darker universe, but they have to change the stone there. But by going through the quantum realm, that some of that stuff is bleeding into the main thing, and that could have been like causing some type of
Right.
weird thing, and that's how you get the X-Men in it. But
Yeah. I mean,
that's a cool
I feel
idea.
like you would have needed like a 5-hour movie
Yeah,
just to explain
yeah.
all that. So.
No.
Yeah.
You don't set that up in this movie. You do that so when you have the X-Men, you use that as an exclamation point
Right,
when they
right,
went multiverse hopping, shit was coming through and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, maybe. Yeah, that could work.
So
But what movies do you think they should do? They're going to do an Eternals
The
movie.
Eternals is coming.
Which I have no clue.
I
I
mean,
have
so
to do
like
research.
we officially have besides Eternals. I mean, we got Spider-Man coming next, and we definitely have
Black Panther 2.
Black Panther and
Doctor
Guardians
Strange,
of the Galaxy.
and Doctor
Strange. So I think they made it pretty clear that the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie is going to be like Thor and them.
Yeah.
And I think the plot is going to be looking, because they're going to be looking for Gamora. I think that's what it's going to
And
be.
then Adam Warlock.
And then
probably.
Adam Warlock
Yeah.
will be the villain of that
I
movie.
feel like
I think
Thor-
that's pretty clear by now.
Dor might just have a glorified cameo in that movie. Maybe
You don't know.
I think they established. that
Thor
he's gonna
wants
be
to come
with them.
back
I think
now.
he has good chemistry with the rest of the team. I think he
Same here.
So-
it would be like Thor Ragnarok, where it's like him and
Jimmy's
Hulk.
asking why not another Hulk movie?
They got to get the rights
Yeah.
to it.
They have
still,
to
right?
get the solo rights to that.
Yeah, they
that's
still haven't
Universal.
gotten that.
That's Universal's fault.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, the way he is now, though, like, what is he gonna do? Like, just you're gonna watch a movie of him teaching a class in Hulk form?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he's incredible Hulk now.
Oh God, you with that meme?
Yeah, it's true though. That's what he is. He's a professor. But so like and we have to see what happens in Spider-Man as well though. Like there could be now that Tony Stark is dead, I'm sure they're gonna play on that. And then there's always gonna be that maybe they'll do like a Sinister Six proper post-credit scene in that movie. You never know.
That's I think Sony. I think that's on
Yeah.
Sony's rights.
Yeah, and then Black Panther, I'm sure will just be like another introduce another villain for him to fight. Same thing with Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange could get crazy too. Maybe they'll do the multiverse.
Doctor Strange is trippy.
Yeah,
The
but like
first movie was-
in the first movie, they outright say like there's a multiverse.
Yeah,
so
the
maybe,
multiverse jumping.
So maybe like Doctor Strange 2 will really dive into that, and maybe there you'll see your your theories come true. You never know.
Yeah.
So, but in the case of like who the next big baddie is, maybe Galactus. I would, I think it's easy. I was gonna say before, I think it's easier for them to put in Fantastic Four rather than the X-Men. And if you're gonna put in Fantastic Four, then you got to put in Galactus.
What about Blade?
So-
Jimmy says,
Blade?
what about Blade? Wesley Snipes.
But I think he'd be a TV series.
Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage.
I can totally see.
No, like Wesley Snipes, Blade. Who's the villain in Blade? Tax evasion.
I would. Yeah.
Tax evasion. That was good.
I think he would probably be a Disney Plus show, if anything.
Now
Yeah.
I'm interested in superhero movies.
Yeah, see, Jimmy says Galacticus should be the next Thanos style villain, but I don't know how you stretch that out for like 10 movies without any.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be like the overarching thing, but like maybe. Just,
I don't
like,
think they're going to do that again. I don't think they're going to do an overarching thing, and I think it's going to be very phase based, very standalone based. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to wait to the. What is it? June is the next one event with the big.
So what I've been hearing is the summer is going to be, somewhere in the summer.
The announcement of the next phase.
Yeah, because the end, the Phase 3 actually isn't over. It's Spider-Man.
Phase 3 ends with Spider-Man, but they don't need to They don't need to wait until Spider-Man comes out because Spider-Man really has. It's more of like Kevin Feige called it like an epilogue.
Yeah.
It's more like an epilogue of.
Right. Yeah.
Which caused another issue that people are seeing, complaining about, and I shut them down in 2 seconds. They're like, "How come Ned and Spider-Man are still in high school?"
hated that school.
High school. If it was 5 years later, and I'm just like, they all got snapped, and they're all resuming high school as it was.
That was
Thanos
what the
hated that
official.
school.
No, I think that was what the official explanation was. I think a spokesperson did say that was like the whole school got snapped.
Yeah.
Because it's people were saying like, oh, it should be 50% of the school, but it's like no. It doesn't
by the way,
have to be.
Joe should be happy because did they mention? Or I'm just hearing things. Did they mention that the whole Mets team got snapped too?
Oh yeah, we missed the Mets.
Yeah. Yeah.
No big loss. It's fine.
Oh yeah. It's no big
As long
loss.
as the
Right?
Yankees survive
Right,
snap.
right, Jimmy. The Mets snapping kind of there's no big loss.
Sure, he's gonna be.
Yeah,
Is he a Mets fan?
I'm waiting for him to start like caps, yelling at me in caps.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say about Endgame that I wasn't a fan of. Well, not that I wasn't. Well, I wasn't a fan of it. I was disappointed by it because I was expecting it to be there. Is that they didn't really show what the world, like what was happening to the actual world.
That's what I thought the opening was going to be.
Yeah, I know. Cause
like news reports and stuff. That would have been cool.
Yeah, because they did that in the post-credit scenes of like, Infinity War with like the helicopter crash, the helicopters are coming down.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted, like, I kind of like predicted that the first scene was going to be the Hawkeye scene with his daughter, but like I was also expecting it to be like a dark and grim, like, here's, this is what's been going on in the world. Like, and we hear like, like police radios going off and news reports going off and like the president, if he wasn't snapped out of existence, addressing the world,
Marvel,
like what to do.
They could turn that into a TV special on the.
They could pretty much turn.
Make a whole season of.
It has nothing to do with the superheroes. Just like do something
make
like
a whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season.
Yeah,
that's what I was really excited to see. Like I wanted to see like how this.
I think it's ending. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending next season.
Two more seasons. The upcoming
this
season
one and then the next one.
year.
Yeah, so they could do it then.
They have to do it then. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, they mentioned Thanos last season.
Yeah,
really?
And the Game of Thrones. Wow.
I need to watch it. I stopped after season 3 or 4.
Actually, it's funny. The night we saw Infinity War at the diner, they had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the TV, and then when I watched it back the next day, they mentioned Thanos.
That was a new episode.
Yeah,
that was a new episode.
Oh, so they still try to cross over a little bit.
Before.
How do they mention
a little bit? No, they're like
first,
Thanos' forces are coming to the planet or something like that.
The first couple of seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they crossed over with the movies, but then it became its own thing, which just made the show a lot better. But I still wish they had the connection to the movie. By the way, getting back to the scene where Doctor Strange and the portals coming through, they easily could have swapped out Howard the Duck, and then you see the Defenders coming through.
I know. I was gonna say that too. I wish they just put in the Defenders for 2 seconds.
And then
we know who they are.
You see Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Daredevil.
Yeah, like just give me like a 5-second scene of them just fighting together, and then you don't even have to show them ever again. I just want to put them in the movie for 2 seconds. That's all I want.
That's a whole other podcast. I can explain why.
Yeah, well, I mean clearly we're not getting that at this point.
Oh yeah, so we've been going for
2 hours,
an hour and a half.
Felt longer.
Yeah.
Also, Hulk should have gotten another fight with Thanos.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. On that note.
So thanks everybody for watching. We're going to have John back in June for E3. He's our E3 correspondent.
Yeah. John will be talking for 3 hours.
A lot's happened.
Yeah. John's going to be our E3 correspondent, as he always is. Mm-hmm. Joe will be back in August for SummerSlam.
I'm going to be killed off again.
Guys, this is my last episode.
Jerry will be back with Cooking with Jerry.
But it's a spin-off of the
Jerry's
Collective.
Jerry's going to do a whole podcast on Welcome to Movesport, a movie no one cares about.
Christian.
Jimmy says the movie had...
No,
Jimmy
shut the fuck up.
Oh, God, no.
Joe is not invited
I have
back to
things to say.
the podcast.
By next week, we are going to do a whole Welcome to the Movesport review.
Jerry,
So-
Jerry, get out of your
So
own
Jimmy
house.
says 10 out of 10 movie. He hasn't seen it yet, but no Deadpool.
Wow, welcome to Mooseport.
But no, there's no Deadpool in it, so he's happy.
One prediction I do have.
Who says Deadpool's not in it?
No, I predict Deadpool will come in untouched from his Fox version.
Yeah.
And
Take place within
he's just
the
gonna
movie.
be. They're gonna just be like, "What the hell are you doing here?" He's just be like, "Oh, I just like quantum skipped over here. It's fine," because like he can just break the fourth wall like that.
And we are planning.
It'll totally work.
And we are planning to have you on, Jimmy. We're gonna have something special to have you on.
Talk about somebody that will talk for keep going forever and forever.
Hey, but that's not a bad thing. So yeah, so that's basically it, guys. We've been here for an hour and a half. Oh, well, now an hour 40. It's not our longest
time.
podcast yet, but
Making good time.
yeah, but it's close to maybe our second longest podcast ever. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Everybody that didn't watch Infinity War yet, sorry. Sorry, but I put it. There were spoilers.
I gotta finish
Yep.
off with the song.
There you go. Do it.
This is the part where he said Avengers Assemble.
Avengers!
Avengers, assemble!
All right, see you, everybody.